to the Overlord's will. Now Kyros' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and Archon of Secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. Simple choice. Serve or die. Grave in Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kyros' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in
Alright, skip.
Lookout.
No, look out.
We must... Curious.
Curious.
Good work.
Good work.
You learn something every day.
You are trained in the following combat style. Let's go dual wield. Regular sword and shield. Great sword. Let's pick. Let's do short and sealed, then we'll do asunder. I also retrieved training in unarmed. I'm gonna say Fury of Blows next. Character colors. This is gonna be nice. hold on. Alright, let's see here. Oh, more colors here. Oh, my banner. Like that. It's a lot of choices. Alright, what next? This could be pretty balanced. Oh, a lot more points. Let's see here. Conquest option will allow you to play through Kyros' Quest of Tears, choosing how your character will evolve. Was evolving in days when this gives you the most control of the starting of the game and how other factions will react to your character. Quick start is you'll bypass the conquest phase of the character creation. You'll select from a list of level templates and how your character is evolved. Huh. Ooh, that's tough. Let's try Conquest.
All the world has fallen to Kyros, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tears. In the early days of 428, Kyros' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tearsmen so long believed on.
Goodness, this game is detailed. During the conquest, you'll decide your character's actions during Kyros' invasions of the Tears, shaping the world through which the game eventually the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tears respond to your decisions matter. Choose wisely. Okay. Year 1 of Kyros' conquest. The bastard city stood on the northern border between Kyros, Empire of the Tears. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tears, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kyros' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kyros' army. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the Tears. Kyros' will is insurmountable. Alright. Alright, let's figure this out. Both armies sent their forces to prepare the way. Or, in the first major engagement at the war, Kyros' armies crossed the Mouch and established a foothold. Let's say that. Ours took the battle to the gates of judgment, trumpeting opening of the conquest of the Tears. Two armies, disfavored and the Scarlet Corps, brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to assault. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited your strengths. Okay, I'm going to pick the disfavored. Standing shield to shield with Kyros, ironclad elite, you advance on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the bastard city. The legions wanted to send a message to the Tears that superior breeding and disciplined training would win the day. Oh. The bastard city learned too late that a military is earned and never bought. The mercenary army quickly found themselves outclassed by superior attack formation of the disfavored. Those few who lived to the end of the battle were rounded up. The weak executed, the strong enslaved to haul the army's wagons and journey south. Okay. The soldiers of the Tears fell by hundreds, and Kyros' armies would not agree on how to handle what few survivors they dragged back to the camp. Befitting your role, the commanders turned to you to decide the fate of those who occupied prison pens. There were only enough prisoners to support the plan of a single army. You slay the holy gear, dig latrines, keep their pallets warm at night. Your national, so you gave first a chance to serve in Kyros' army or die. The Scarlet Corps was in need of extra troops to fill the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy those slots nicely. I don't like either of those options. They aren't great. Your army cooperative ex-soldiers with scrap weapons tossed them to the vanguards of the next Scarlet Corps assault. Those who survive are welcome to take up arms and armor. Desperate struggle to survive in Kyros' military. After their first victory, you're awarded the new recruits with the opportunity to execute their wounded or reluctant countrymen. Oh, that's great. The armies of Kyros amassed around the bastard city, the first bastion of the Tears to fall. Both armies longed to storm the walled outpost, the Scarlet Corps howling for plunder, and the disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Your prowess on the field of battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Both of the armies had inspired schemes to take the bastard city. Which did you support? Assault on the main gates? No. Sabotage the city's defenses. You joined the disfavored vanguard and direct assault upon the city. No fortification would stand before an unstoppable legion. You joined the setting fire to the city. Defenders would surrender or burn. You led a mixed band of disfavored and Scarlet Corps scouts over the walls to sabotage its defenses. I like that one. Though it was challenging to earn the cooperation of both armies, their shared interest in taking down the city's defenses allowed your scouts to work as a single unit. Once your forces scaled the walls, a mixture of tactics and savagery destabilized the city guard, who quickly lost their command over the defenses and were forced to surrender. Lacking the support of archers or siege weapons, the bastard city fell quickly to Kyros' superior might. Okay. You may choose one of these locations. I can't see. Can I shrink this? Shrink that a little. The bastard city settled into a new state of normalcy. with every tower displaying Kyros' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kyros' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlements of Lithian's Crossing or as war advisor with the armies advancing to the realm of Apex. Oh, what do I want to do? I think I'm a warrior. I'm going to go to the Apex. Year 2 of Kyros' conquests. The mountain nation of Apex, ruled for generations by the Queen's House of Andrian, stood at the heart of the tiers. No army could bypass the landlocked realm without leaving their flank exposed to attack. By the second year of the war, the disfavored and Scarlet Corps had pushed deep into the tiers. Elements of both armies were dispatched to conquer Apex. Tunon assigned you to accompany them, tasked with bringing Kyros' law to the territory as well as keeping an eye on both armies. The Battle of Edgering Pass. The Archon of Stone's assault was perhaps too successful. A new school of mages presented problems and opportunities. A school of water mages loyal to the Tiersmen posed substantial threat to the disfavored. The disfavored wished to annihilate the school, while the Scarlet Corps insisted on capturing the mages, wishing to learn of their craft. Ooh, I think we should learn. Disfavored sent their most destructive ally to crush the Edgering Fort. Karn, Archon of Stone, burned stronghold under avalanche triggered from the surrounding mountains. The Scarlet Corps were promised captured enemies for recruitment, yet none survived the onslaught. The Corps demanded compensation. Let's do this one. We'll do the Scarlet Corps. The countless lives were lost in taking the mages into custody. The Scarlet Corps praised your name as they dragged the beaten elders of the schools to the voices of Narat's tent. As a wave of screams and incoherent pleas reached their crescendo, the Scarlet Corps' soldiers outside cheered for their Archon. The disfavored adjourned to their camps in grim silence, claiming the chorus lacked the will and desire to fully wipe out all traces of the enemy school. It's not necessary. Captive Captain. When Kyros' forces captured a celebrated enemy hero, the armies bickered over his fate. The disfavored wanted him set free to convince his peers of Kyros' mercy. The Scarlet Corps wanted him flayed and staked as an example. No. Hoping to break the siege, Scarlet Corps' agents poisoned the Apex. No. Days later, the uniformed disfavored scouts died of outraged by the failure of communication. Disfavored demanded that the Corps agents be turned over to them for punishment. We're doing this one right here. You agreed this favorite plan to send the enemy captain back with the message all those who would surrender and cooperate would be treated with deserving respect and all subject of Kyros' peace. Next. Shocked by your clemency, the enemy captain vowed to deliver his message in full and paid his respect before departing for his encampment. Though typically more uncompromising, the disfavored praised your innovative thinking. The Scarlet Corps despised what they viewed as resources wasted only to release an unknown enemy back into the wild. The defeat of Apex and inevitability, the armies of Kyros met to discuss how to put an end to the stage of conquest. Both armies agreed to send an offer of parley. Along with their acceptance, the enemy requested that you appear at the meeting. Word of your fair dealings had apparently spread to their ranks. How did you orchestrate the surrender of realm of Apex? Through the days of meditation, you negotiated the surrender of the Valley of Kyros' forces, putting an end to the bloodshed, taunting the Queen of Apex into striking you under a ban of truce. You baited the Queen of Apex into a duel and slew her, frightening her vassals into submission. Okay, your former enemies were loath to part with their lands, but they were even more reluctant to continue the war they were losing at every turn. The Tearsmen are a stubborn lot, and despite their grim situation, it still took days of discussion and diplomacy to show them the madness of tenacity. On the third day of mediation, the ruler of Apex finally submitted to your terms of surrender, putting an end to the war in the valley and freeing up Kyros' forces to march deeper into the Tears. Alright, can't read this. Let me move this window over here. Alright. The land of Apex finally rested in the hands of Kyros' forces. The Scarlet Chaos paused to revel in victory, while the disfavored prepared for the next fight, affording themselves but an evening's rest. Kyros' armies radiated out from the conquered citadel and worked their way across the Tears. The disfavored and Scarlet Chorus aimed to dominate as much territory as possible in the coming year. Your distinguished reputation in Kyros military left the choice of your next destination yours to make. You may choose one of these locations: the Azure, which is close, the Vellum Citadel, or Stalwarts. Let's see what this one has to offer. Dispatch Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Gaze fell upon Vellum Citadel's treasures and his knowledge of his secrets. Well, its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm. Let's do that one. Year 3 of Kyros' conquest. The realm of Stalwart was best known for its proud army, disciplined, courageous, and undefeated on their home soil. Skills and resolve made Stalwart military power that Kyros' forces approached with due caution. With its southern position, Stalwart had been largely safe from war, watching for 2 years as its neighbors fell to Kyros' forces. On the dawn of the third year of war, Kyros' forces were finally poised to invade the Stalwart Peninsula and subdue the Tears' most vaunted army. Tragedy struck when hungry Scarlet Chorus soldiers appropriated disfavored supplies. The Stalwart defenders burned their crops as they retreated, leaving the invaders little to forage. Starving, the Scarlet Chorus mob raided from the disfavored, well-maintained supply lines, including casualties on both sides. I don't like that. You ordered that the thieving Scarlet Chorus be spiked for their affront. By your command, the disfavored shared their provisions. The thieves each lost a hand for treachery. A contentious setback. After a defeat at the hands of the enemy defenders, the Scarlet Chorus accused the disfavored of recklessness. The disfavored claimed the Scarlet Chorus brought too few soldiers to cover their flanks. Both armies refused to march until you give them a ruling. Knowing the disfavored reputation for discipline as well as Scarlet Chorus's powers to instill fear and frenzy, you decided that the Scarlet Chorus was in the wrong. Lacking proof the Scarlet Chorus recruits were negligent, you punished the disfavored commander for his failures and for bringing charges without evidence. Ooh. Ooh. Gavinash was the first to step forward to dispute your ruling. He argued that the Scarlet Chorus were a directionless menace, sowing chaos and disorder wherever they went. What further evidence did you need? After you politely reminded him that his opinions were inadmissible, he stormed out of the camp with a unit of soldiers. He didn't return for several hours. That's not good. Scarlet Chorus soldiers were spotted fighting alongside the Stalwart defenders. The voices of Nura insisted they were spies enlisted to gauge the army's weaknesses. To sow discontent, the disfavored accused the soldiers of treason, demanded a bloody reprisal. The contentious army sought your ruling on the matter. You ordered the disfavored to execute these spies. They were found and demanded a full accounting of their so-called agents. Trusting the Kyros' spy master knew his business, you ordered the disfavored to ignore these Scarlet agents. Ooh, it's tough. The armies of Kyros collaborated on the capture of an enemy leader. The Scarlet Chorus requested that she be interrogated by the Archon of Secrets. The disfavored wished to display her corpse in the battle since the stalwart defenders refused to surrender. A gesture was needed. Well, we don't... I don't like either of these options. I'm gonna have to go through the interrogation. That's not good. My soldiers rebel against me. Like so many enemy prisoners, the stalwart regents vanished inside the voices of Narat's tent. Never to be seen again. Her screams were the only evidence that she had even passed through the camp, and those went on beyond what most considered possible. When at last she fell silent, the voices invited you inside. There was no regent to be found, only a map, which the voices had marked with hasty scrawls, marking supposed weaknesses in enemies' defenses. Those favored carved the slow, steady path into the heart of the stalwart and surrounded the enemy's massive fortress. With the main bulk of their forces defeated, the enemy leadership retreated to the mighty fortress, content to wait out the war. The Overlord answered his impudence with an edict of storms on the peninsula, a devastating spell that would endure for as long as the cowardly hearts of stalwart leaders persisted in beating. Knowing before anyone else that the edict would occur, the voice of Narat lobbied for you to deliver the mighty incantation. Aside from being given a 3-day window to read the edict, you received no other instructions. The Edict of Storms. Agreeing with the wishes of the disfavored, you proclaimed the edict at once, leaving the enemy no time to react. Stalwart had ample opportunity to surrender for several years. The time for mercy was long gone. An attempt to ingratiate themselves with the people of Stalwart, the Scarlet Corps insisted that warning be sent to the towns and villages so the people may prepare for the horror about to descend upon them. Nope. I have to go with them, guys. You agree this favored rationale. The leaders of Stalwart had refused honorable battle. Too many disfavored lives were lost in the campaign. Since the last regent refused to leave the keep, you wouldn't let him watch as his people suffered. You will let him watch his people suffer. Without hesitation or regret, you broke the seal of Kyros' Edict of Storms and read the Overlord's incantation. The clear skies darkened as he read the final words of the edict. A flurry of wind and rain whipped through the rolling plains and craggy canyons, turning rocks, uprooted trees, and hapless soldiers into hazardous shrapnel. Armed with a measure of foresight, you were able to remove yourself from the area before the storms grew more violent. Over time, nearby communities told of cyclones consisting of thousands of soldiers' worth of limbs, spears, armor, and skulls. What's more, the weather showed no signs of dissipating. Several units of disfavored who fought the enemy in spite of the advancing storm were caught up in the Overlord's magic. The few survivors were grouped and nursed their wounds. Their failure to topple Stalwart Legion shamed them into believing the dead more fortunate. Dang. The name Stalwart fell from use. People took to calling it the Blood Grave, for the remade landscape festooned with iron and bronze armaments of two once great legions. As Kyros' forces departed, you spared a glance back at the ruins of Stalwart, marveling at your work. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you to service once more. I don't like how that one went. Now let's continue. Let's live with our decisions. Let's live with our choices.
The year is 431, and Kyros' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kyros lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished.
Alright, let's keep going.
With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush. The Overlord is not amused, and Kyros has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die.
Okay.
As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kyros' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kyros' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Fatebinder, the home gamer, I presume. We've been expecting you. If this is your first visit to World Tyranny, watch these windows to help you become... Okay, great. Let's close that one.
On it.
Where's the best place for this window? Maybe down here. There's stuff down there too. Maybe right up here. Maybe this corner. Alright. Maybe best for this camera to go on the other side. Alright, let's try that. Kyros, the Overlord, be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. Those favored warriors collapse her gauntlet to her breastplate, the traditional salute of her legion. We were told a fatebinder was coming, and though our commander will not say why, it seems obvious. Graven Ash and the voices on the rock can agree on nothing, at least of all battle plans to wipe out the Oathbreakers. I trust you bring orders from Tunon that will break this deadlock. I come bearing an edict. I come bearing the edict of Kyros. Our soldiers will complete their task or die. The edict is leveled against us. Her eyes widen with fear. Her posture slackens. But the Scarlet Chorus prevents us from taking action. Why would Overlord punish both of... She clears her throat with a sigh. Forgive me. It is not my place to question. We should have conquered the enemy within weeks of arriving in the valley. The delay reflects poorly on all of us. If we all follow Kyros' will, alright, where am I? If we all follow Kyros' will and stop the insurrection, no harm will come to any of us. I've seen why they call you Stormcaller. I saw firsthand what happened to the Stalwart for their refusal to fight. Now we are ones guilty of stalling and offending the Overlord. She clears her throat, blinking quickly as she recovers her composure. I'm sorry, as you said, if we follow Kyros' will, there is no need for concern, as ever the case. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure Archons will want to hear from you at... Her voice falls silent, her attention snapping eastward with alarm. Did you hear that? More runners. Third time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from the outside of the valley. She pointed over to the collapsed path by which you arrived. But they're a bit too late for that now. Come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. Alright. So I guess we're going to have a battle. So in this battle mode... Okay, maybe the camera needs to go someplace. This webcam is interfering with my... Put myself in the middle. There we go. Tyranny uses a pausable real-time combat system. Because you will often manage more than one character at a time, it's good to pause the game, issue order, and resume real time to see the orders play out. The options menu also contains many choices for automatic pausing when certain conditions are met, e.g. the start of a combat, press spacebar to pause and unpause the game. Okay. Your character can perform basic attacks using their equipped weapon or their fist if fighting unarmed. Characters also have special abilities and spells they can use in combat. When a character is selected, their ability bar displays their hotkeyed ability as new abilities and spells are gained. They are automatically added to the ability bar. All of your characters and ability spells can be accessed by selecting the category icon at the bottom of the selected frame. Abilities are grouped into talent spells, combo abilities, artifact abilities, reputation abilities, and stances. Category icons for weapon sets and quick items follow. To use an ability, left click on the ability icon, press a hotkey corresponding. Okay, next. I think I get this. All characters in the game, friend or foe, have 5 primary defenses against attacks. Oh god, this is complex. There are 4 possible results from a hit, critical, experience. Done. Alright, so I'm going to pick thrust. I got a range on that. Furry blows, concealing shadow. 5 is a lesser healing potion. Choose this and we'll see if we can
Sorry, can't.
Can't tab. We can't control our attack, right? Let's just go behind it. Okay, now we'll get our attack.
Take that! Will do. Can't do that. I got it.
Alright. Can I loot? What do I get? Sure. Oh, I gotta adjust the camera with WSD. Okay. Look at this. Alright, this is where I'm gonna save the game. This is interesting. I like this. So where are my settings at? Game menu. Save. Save here. Accept. And we're going to quit the game. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Watch me fumble through this game and get through the beginning. I think I'm going to enjoy this game a lot. This is Tyranny. Got it. Came as part of... got a discount for contributing to the Pillars of Eternity 2. But I'm going to stop the stream. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tron TV, historical home gamer. I hope you have a great day.